Hey everyone, welcome back to the Testament of Faith channel. Today, we're stepping into a realm of the Bible that feels like it's torn from a dream, or maybe a nightmare. It's a place where the ground shakes with every step, where giants, towering and fierce, cast shadows over history and dared entire nations to stand against them. We're not talking fairy tales here, these are stories etched into the sacred pages, tales of Arba, the ancient root of a giant lineage, Goliath, the Philistine menace whose defeat didn't end the fight, and a staggering war where 10,000 giants faced off against just 4 kings. Who were these beings? Were they legends born from fear, or do they hint at a reality we've long forgotten? Get ready, we're about to plunge into the past, unraveling the enigma of these biblical titans and the battles that left the earth scarred. This journey might just shake the foundations of what you believe. Let's go. It all begins in Genesis 6, where the Bible throws us a curveball that's puzzled minds for centuries. Imagine a young world, humanity stretching across the plains, when something bizarre unfolds. The sons of God catch sight of human women, their beauty pulling them down from the heavens. They marry, and what's born isn't normal, it's the Nephilim, a breed so colossal they're branded giants. These weren't just tall folks, they were otherworldly, a fusion of divine and mortal that broke every rule. So who were these sons of God? The Hebrew Ben Ha-Elohim, and its Aramaic echo, Ben Elah, points to angels, celestial rebels who traded their ethereal posts for earthly passion. Picture them, radiant figures descending, their light dimming as they embrace the forbidden, and from that union, giants rise, massive, untamed, a living defiance of the natural order. Before the flood, these Nephilim weren't quiet neighbors. Genesis paints a world spiraling into ruin, their huge hands sowing violence wherever they went. Imagine a villager pausing mid-harvest, heart racing as a 15-foot silhouette looms over the ridge, or a mother shielding her children as a guttural roar splits the air. They weren't just big, they were chaos incarnate, a rebellion's echo that pushed humanity to the brink. God saw it, a creation drowning in blood and corruption, and sent the flood, waters roaring to reclaim the earth, Noah's Ark a lone speck amid the deluge. You'd think that'd be the end, right? Giants swept away, lost to the deep. But here's the twist that grabs you, they came back. After the waters receded, these towering figures re-emerged, striding the land as if the flood was just a nap. How did they pull that off? That's the mystery that keeps us digging. Some believe the fallen angels didn't retire after the flood. Maybe they stuck around, weaving into human tribes, their voices hissing in the dark corners of pagan shrines. The Bible's littered with clues, names like Baal and Molech, gods who craved sacrifice and fear. What if they weren't just idols? What if they were those same celestial outcasts, demons in disguise, still stirring the pot? Picture a priestess in a smoky temple, her chants rising as she bears a giant child, half human, half shadow. Or recall Egypt's sorcerers before Moses, turning staffs to serpents with a flick of dark power, no trick, but a glimpse of the force behind these titans. Could that same energy have birthed a new wave of Nephilim, their massive forms haunting the Middle East and beyond? It's a chilling idea, the flood didn't kill them, it just scattered their seed, waiting to sprout again. After the waters faded, these giants didn't wander aimlessly, they claimed the earth, forging domains from the Levant to Mesopotamia, their reach grazing Egypt's edges. The Bible lists 5 tribes, each a terror in its own right, warrior bands who built strongholds and defied entire civilizations. For Israel, they were the wall between promise and possession. Numbers 13 tells it raw, spies slip into Canaan, their courage crumbling as they spot the Anakim, sons of Anak. They're enormous, they stammer. We're nothing, grasshoppers beside them. No hyperbole here, their cities towered, defended by beings who could crush a man with a glance. Let's meet these 5 races, peel back their names, and feel the weight of their presence. First come the Rephaim, or Rephates, the old guard of giants, their name a shiver on ancient lips. In Hebrew and Phoenician, Rapha, whispers of spirits, the undead, ghosts bound to the earth. Imagine travelers by a flickering fire, voices hushed, the Rephaim walk the night, shades of the lost. Why that ghostly tag? Some say the flood was meant to wipe them out, yet they rose again, specters of a drowned age. Look at Og, king of Bashan, Deuteronomy 3 notes his bed, 13 feet long, 6 feet wide, iron to hold his mass. Picture him, 15 feet tall, maybe more, his steps a tremor, a ruler who cast a shadow like a thunderhead over his foes. The Rephaim weren't just huge, they were a lingering dread, a question mark on the flood's finality. Next, the Anakim, sons of Anak, a name that chills the soul. It's more than a title, it's a hint, linked to Sumerian Anak or Anakin, meaning, children of those who fell from the sky. Let that hit you, not just mortals, but heirs of heavenly rebels, their bloodline tracing back to those angels. Numbers 13 pegs them as giants, 11 to 14 feet, some say they matched OG's 15 plus. They held Canaan's hills, their might a myth, their presence a fortress against Israel's hopes. Imagine a spy peeking over a rise, pulse hammering as Anakim steps forward, muscles like stone, eyes burning with an unearthly glint. They weren't mere warriors, they carried a celestial burden, a legacy of divine outcasts. Then the Emim stride in, their name a howl of terror. Deuteronomy 2 calls them great, numerous, tall as the Anakim, 13 feet or more, monstrous in every sense. Emim translates to fearsome or terrifying, and they lived it. Historian Josephus adds a twist, their roars were lion-like, deep and bone-rattling, halting armies in their tracks. Picture them, warped faces, teeth like knives, hands that could snap a neck. They roamed the Levant, their cries echoing through canyons, a race that didn't just fight, they were horrified. Were they crafted for fear, their grotesqueness a weapon? The Emim were a living wound, their mark seared into memory. Fourth, the Zuzim, giants of raw power. Genesis 14 sketches them faintly, but their name, from Aramaic, means rigid, strong, robust. These were tanks, 10 to 13 feet, built like cliffs, their fists shattering bone. They prowled the Middle East, clashing with tribes and kings, their durability a legend. Imagine a battle, arrows glancing off a Zuzim's chest, his laugh rumbling as he breaks a spear. They didn't flaunt, they crushed, a force that rolled over enemies. Genesis 14 marks their fall, King Kedorlaomer's war spills their blood, but did they all die, or did some stagger off, unbroken? Finally, the Zamzummim, shadowy kin to the Zuzim. Deuteronomy 2 sets them east of the Jordan, 13 to 14.5 feet tall, warriors who gripped fertile lands. Their name's a riddle, some link it to murmuring, perhaps their deep voices or the chaos they brought. Picture a Zamzummim leader, his form swallowing a village, axe shining as he faces Lot's descendants, the Ammonites. The Ammonites fought back, felling them, seizing their ground. Were they Rephaim offshoots, as some guess? Their lands, Jordan, Syria, Israel, once pulsed with giant dominion, a reign that crumbled as smaller tribes rose. Their end hints at a tide turning, yet their echo persists. Now, hold tight for Genesis 14, a war that bends the mind. For kings, Amraphel of Shinar, Arioch of Elasa, Kedorlaomer of Elam, title of Goyim, clash with 5, Sodom, Gomorrah, and their allies. But it's not just a royal brawl, 10,000 giants storm in, Rephaim, Zuzim, Emim. Shinar's Amraphel, from Sumer's ancient cradle, might have wielded lost lore, some call him Quintrapastu, the Great One. Kedorlaomer's Elam spans Iran, his name Kedorlaomer a drumbeat of power. Arioch's Elasa could be Cappadocia's wilds, while title's Goyim hints at a tribal coalition from the Zagros. They meet in Siddim's slime-ridden valley, giants shaking the earth, Rephaim in Ashtaroth, Zuzim in Ham, Emim in Shave. Imagine it, rocks flying, roars deafening, mortal spears clashing with titan clubs. The kings win, but how? Strategy? Numbers? A hidden edge? Abraham steps up when Lot's taken. With 318 men, he strikes at night, a swift shadow cutting through the king's retreat to Damascus. Picture him moving past fallen giants, their massive forms sprawled in the dirt, eyes staring blankly at the stars. Did survivors watch, plotting revenge? The text leaves it hanging. Fast forward to David, Goliath's slingshot end sparks a Rephaim vendetta. Ishbi-Benob hunts him, 13-pound spear gleaming, Saph stalks Gob, a 6-fingered freak taunts Gath. Each falls, yet, born to the giant in Gath, suggests more. Arba's Anakim tie to Hebron, did he spawn them all? Questions swirl, bones buried, angels lurking, a story that stretches on. Let's linger on that war, because 10,000 giants don't fade quietly. Siddim a death trap, slime pits bubbling, air thick with blood. Rephaim swing tree trunk clubs, Zuzim smash chariots, Emim roar like beasts. The kings, Amraphel's cunning, Kedorlaomer's resolve, turn the tide, but at what cost? Picture their camp, fires low, survivors whispering of lost brothers, giants' shadows still looming in their minds. Did some escape, nursing hate in distant hills? Abraham's raid cuts deeper, did he sense their lingering threat? David's battles echo it, Goliath's kin, Arba's heirs, a lineage that defies death. Were they celestial remnants, their makers still weaving chaos? The trails open, the mystery alive. Let's start with Abraham, because this nomad's tale takes a wild turn in Genesis 14. Lot's captured, his nephew, his kin, snatched by the 4 kings after their victory in Siddim. Abraham doesn't sit still. He gathers 318 men, born and trained in his own household, and sets out under a moonless sky. Picture it, a lean figure, staff in hand, eyes sharp with resolve, leading a small band through the night. They split into groups, shadows darting across the plains, striking the king's camp near Dan with the precision of a hawk. Imagine the chaos, guards crumpling, tents collapsing, as Abraham's crew cuts through to Hobah, left of Damascus. They reclaim Lot, the goods, the women, the people, everything stolen, and the kings scatter like dust in the wind. The king of Sodom meets him in the valley of Shave, awestruck, as Abraham stands amidst the spoils, his chest heaving, giant corpses looming in the dark. Did he pause, staring at a fallen Rephaim, its club still clutched in a lifeless grip? Did he wonder what ancient curse birthed these titans, their blood staining his path? That war in Siddim wasn't just a skirmish, it was a cataclysm. 4 kings, Amraphel, Arioch, Kedorlaomer, title, against 5, with 10,000 giants thrown into the mix. Let's peel back the layers on these rulers, because they're more than names on a page. Amraphel hails from Shinar, a land steeped in mystery, the cradle of Sumer where ziggurats pierced the sky. Some whisper he's Quintrapastu, the Great One, a title hinting at secrets from before the flood, maybe lore of Nephilim, etched in clay by hands long gone. Picture him, a wiry man in gilded robes, his voice crisp as he orders traps set, spiked pits to snag giant legs. His mind's a vault of Sumerian cunning, his war not just for land but for knowledge lost to time. Did he seek to harness the giant's power, or bury it forever? Kedorlaomer's next, king of Elam, a realm sprawling across modern Iran. His name, Kedorlaomer, rings with weight, tied to underworld gods, a ruler whose shadow stretched beyond borders. Imagine him, tall, bearded, armor glinting as he strides through camp, his spearmen fanning out to flank the Zuzim. He's no stranger to blood, his campaign's a hammer, smashing tribes from Ashtaroth to Shave. Was he driven by pride, or something darker, a vow to purge these celestial spawn? His Elamite warriors, descendants of Shem, march with a grim purpose, their chants low and steady, as if they know the stakes are eternal. Arioch rules Elassa, a place lost to the haze, maybe Cappadocia's rugged hills or Antioch's ancient stones. Picture him, weathered, axe in hand, his eyes scanning the horizon for Emim roars. His kingdom's a fortress, forged in Asia Minor's wilds, and his men swing blades that gleam in the dusk, hacking at giant knees. Was he a reluctant ally, dragged into Kedorlaomer's vendetta, or a seeker of glory, eager to etch his name in stone? His origins blur, but his resolve doesn't. He's a rock in the storm, his warriors a wall against the Titan's tide. Titles the enigma, king of Goyim, nations, in Hebrew, peoples, in Semitic tongues. Some peg him as Tisdal, a Hurrian lord from the Zagros mountains, ruling a patchwork of tribes. Imagine him, a broad figure, cloaked in furs, his voice rallying a motley horde, nomads, warriors, outcasts united under his banner. His strength in numbers, a swarm that floods the valley, overwhelming where others falter. Was he a mercenary king, gold in his eyes, or a visionary binding clans to face a shared foe? His Goyim crash like locusts, their chaos a weapon against the giant's order. Siddim's valley is their crucible, slime pits bubbling, air thick with dust and screams. The Rephaim hit first, 15-foot specters from Ashtaroth Karnaim, their clubs smashing through ranks like thunder. Picture a soldier, shield splintered, staring up as Rephaim's ghostly eyes lock on him, half man, half wraith, a relic of the flood's failure. The Zuzim follow, 10 to 13 feet of brute force from Ham, fists pounding earth, laughter mocking as they snap spears. An Emim roars in Shave Kiriathaim, 13 feet of terror, his lion-like below freezing blood, his boulder flattening a dozen men. These 3 races, Rephaim, Zuzim, Emim, aren't just warriors, they're a nightmare unleashed, their lineage a riddle tied to Nephilim whispers. How did the kings win? The text's silent, but the scene screams. Maybe Amraphel's trap snared the giants, their bulk sinking into tar. Perhaps Kedorlaomer's spears found throats, Arioch's axes cleaved legs, Tidal's swarm drowned them in bodies. Picture the aftermath, fires spitting, the kings counting losses, hundreds, thousands dead to fell 10,000 titans. Survivors limp away, a Rephaim clutching a gash, vanishing into hills, a Zuzim, arm broken, fading into shadows, an Emim, half-blind, staggering off. Were they all gone, or did they whisper vengeance in caves, their hate simmering? Fast forward to David, because Goliath's fall lights a fuse. That slingshot victory, 5 stones, 1 giant down, is legend, but his Rephaim kin don't forgive. 2 Samuel 21 unfurls their vendetta. Ishbi-benob, a towering avenger, stalks an aging David across a windswept field. His spear's bronze tip, 13 pounds, gleams like death, gripped by hands that could crush stone. Imagine David, gray hair whipping, breath ragged, sword heavy as Ishbi-benob charges, eyes blazing with a brother's rage. Dust swirls, the giant's roar shakes the earth, and David dodges, barely, as that spear thrusts. Abishai, his nephew, leaps in, blade flashing, a desperate slash, and Ishbi-benob falls, blood pooling. The king's men gasp, hearts pounding, Israel's lamp nearly flickered out. But it doesn't stop. Saph rises next, a Rephaim from Gath, his shadow darkening Gob's battlefield. Picture him, 10 or 11 feet, scars like maps across his chest, axe raised as Israel's lines buckle. Who felled him? Maybe a spear to the ribs, maybe arrows raining down. He crumples, another brother lost. Elhanan faces Goliath the Gittite, same name, new terror, a 9-foot echo of David's foe. Imagine Elhanan, sweat-streaked, driving his blade deep as the giant staggers. Then the 6-fingered freak, 24 digits, a mutant's pride, taunts Gath, his club swinging until Jonathan, David's kin, cuts him down. 4 giants, 4 deaths, all born to the giant in Gath, a brood that won't fade. What's Gath hiding? This Philistine stronghold's a giant's nest. Joshua 11 links it to Anakim, a thread to Arba. Picture its streets, Rephaim towering over stalls, kids gaping as they pass. Were they bred there, forged in secret yards, their roars a war cry for Philistine chiefs? Imagine a council, lords kneeling to a 12-foot Rephaim, coins clinking as they bind their fate to his might. David's warriors swear he's done, the lamp of Israel can't dim, but each kill feels like a tremor. Were the giants thinning, or regrouping in the dark? Let's circle back to those 3 races in Siddim. The Rephaim, ghosts reborn, carry a spectral chill. Were they Nephilim's heirs, flood survivors clinging to peaks? Picture a Rephaim elder, teaching sons to wield clubs under a dying sun, their Rapha name a curse of the undead. The Zuzim, rigid and robust, fade fast. Did Kedorlaomer's war erase them, or did they scatter, their strength a buried myth? Imagine a Zuzim smith, forging blades no man could lift, his hammer's clang lost to time. The Emim, monstrous and dreadful, linger in memory. Josephus's lion roar claim paints them as terror incarnate. Picture an Emim mother, cradling a grotesque child, her growl a lullaby in Sheva's ruins. Were they kin, these races, or rivals bound by a shared doom? David's wars stretch the thread. Ishbi-benob's fall is no fluke, Abishai's strike defies that 13-pound spear. Saph's death at Gob blurs, who landed the blow? Elhanan's Goliath twists names, was it a title, a clan's mark? The 6-fingered brute dies by Jonathan, but born to the giant hints at more. Picture Gath's caves, Rephaim plotting, their growls a vow over Goliath's helm. Philistines lean on them, giants as gods, not just muscle. David kneels by firelight, scars aching, trusting a promise bigger than size. Were these battles the end, or a pause? The human toll gnaws at you. Imagine a widow in Sodom, her husband lost to a Zuzim's fist, staring at the valley's wreckage. A child in Gath, father felled by Elhanan, clutching a 6-fingered hand's memory. These giants weren't just foes, they shaped lives, broke families, left scars deeper than swords. Abraham's 318 mourn brothers too, did they whisper of giants in their tents, fear mingling with triumph? The king's victory cost rivers of blood. Did they sleep, haunted by roars? So where are we? Abraham's raid, the war of 10,000, David's defiance, giants weave through it all. Rephaim, Zuzim, Emim, their origins blur, their end uncertain. Were they angels' spawn, reborn in pagan wombs? Did their secrets, war, craft, terror, sink with them? The Bible hints, never tells, and that's the pull. More battles, more bones, more mysteries, want to keep chasing.